She looked me dead in the eye and said, "I don't have to tell you everything I do," after I found out she'd been lying for weeks. I said, "You're absolutely right," and handed her the apartment keys. She stood there shocked that I'd actually packed my bags and left. I, 29 male, was folding laundry when everything unraveled. My girlfriend Nina, 27, had been acting weird for weeks, constantly on her phone, leaving for errands that took hours, being vague about her plans. We'd been together 4 years, living in my apartment for the last 2. "Hey, where were you yesterday afternoon?" I asked casually, putting her jeans in the drawer. Tried calling about dinner plans. She didn't even look up from her phone. Out. Out where? That's when she looked me dead in the eye, this cold expression I'd never seen before. "I don't have to tell you everything I do." Something in her tone made my stomach drop. "Nina, you said you were at your sister's, but Mia posted pictures from her kid's recital. You weren't in any of them." She shrugged. "Plans changed." "To what? God, why are you interrogating me? I'm allowed to have a life outside of you, Trevor." I set down the shirt I was folding. "I'm not interrogating you. I'm asking where my girlfriend was when she said she'd be somewhere else. This is exactly why I need space sometimes. You're suffocating." The gaslighting was real. But then her phone buzzed. She grabbed it quick, but not quick enough. I saw the notification preview. "Can't wait to see you again tomorrow, beautiful Danny." Who's Danny? Her face went from defensive to guilty to angry in about 2 seconds. "A friend from work." "Since when? You've never mentioned a Danny." "Since I don't have to tell you about every single person I meet." Jesus, Trevor, this jealousy thing is really unattractive. But here's the thing, I wasn't even jealous. I was just done. The lying, the defensiveness, the mysterious Danny, it all clicked. "You're absolutely right," I said calmly. "You don't have to tell me anything." I walked to the closet and pulled out my duffel bag. "What are you doing?" Her voice had changed, less angry, more worried. "Packing." "Packing? For what?" I didn't answer. Just started putting clothes in the bag. She followed me around the bedroom, her tone shifting between confusion and irritation. "Trevor, stop being dramatic. You're seriously gonna throw a tantrum because I have friends?" I moved to the bathroom, grabbed my toiletries. "Not throwing anything, just leaving." "Leaving? This is your apartment?" "Exactly." I handed her my key ring, keeping only my car key. "Here, it's all yours for now." She stood there holding the keys, mouth open. You're serious? You're actually leaving? You want space? You got it." I zipped up the bag. "Over this? Because I didn't tell you every detail of my day?" "No, Nina, because you've been lying for weeks and we both know it." Her face crumpled a bit. "I haven't been." "Yesterday, last Tuesday when you had that work emergency, the weekend conference that your company's website says doesn't happen until next month. Should I continue?" She went pale. "You've been checking up on me?" "No, I just started noticing the inconsistencies. And now Danny." I shouldered my bag. "Look, whatever's going on with you two, I don't need the details. You made it clear, you don't owe me explanations, so I don't owe you my presence." "Trevor, wait, let's talk about this." "Now you want to talk?" I actually laughed. "Nah, I'm good. Lease is month to month now, so you've got 30 days to figure out if you want to stay or go. Rent's due on the 1st, $1,800. Utilities are on auto pay from my account, so you'll need to set those up." The panic in her eyes was real now. "I can't afford this place alone." "Then I guess you'll need to make some decisions. Maybe Danny can help." I walked past her to the door. She grabbed my arm. "You can't just leave. We live together. I have rights." "You're not on the lease, Nina. You're a guest who's been staying here, and I'm done being your host." The shock on her face as I pulled my arm free and walked out, that image is burned into my brain. She stood in the doorway calling after me, but I just got in my car and drove to my brother Nate's place. My phone started blowing up before I even got there. Texts, calls, the works. My favorite, "You're really going to abandon me over a misunderstanding?" A misunderstanding. That's what we're calling weeks of lies now. Blocked her number and crashed at Nate's. The apartment might be mine, but I needed space to think about next steps. Something told me this was just the beginning of the drama. Update 1. 5 days later. The entitlement has reached levels I didn't think were possible. Buckle up, because Nina and her crew have lost their minds. First, let me clarify something. Yes, I left my own apartment. Strategic move. See, if I'd stayed and tried to kick her out, it would have been this whole dramatic scene with her crying about having nowhere to go. By leaving, I put the ball in her court. She could either figure out how to pay for the apartment or leave on her own. Plus, I needed the mental space. Day 2 after I left, I get a call from my landlord, Dennis. Cool older guy, we've always had a good relationship. Hey Trevor, got a weird situation here. Nina just came to the office trying to get added to the lease. She what? Yeah, says you two had a fight and she needs to protect her housing rights. I told her that's not how leases work. Dennis, we broke up. I gave her 30 days to move out. That's what I figured. She also asked if she could take over the lease entirely. When I told her she'd need to qualify with income verification and credit check, she got real quiet. Nina works part-time at a boutique. Maybe clears $2,000 a month. The apartment is $1,800. The math wasn't mathing. Then came the social media campaign. She posted this long sob story on Instagram about how her controlling ex abandoned her because she dared to have independence. The comments were wild. Men can't handle strong women. He sounds toxic, babe. You deserve better, queen. But here's the kicker. She tagged the location as my apartment, like she was claiming territory. Day 3, her best friend Chloe texts me from Nina's phone, since I blocked her. Trevor, Nina is devastated. She made one mistake and you're making her homeless? After 4 years? That's cold. One mistake, right? I didn't respond. Day 4, I had to go to the apartment to grab some work equipment I'd forgotten. Walked in to find it wasn't just Nina there. Danny boy was sprawled on my couch playing my PlayStation. Oh, I said, this is happening already? Nina jumped up. Trevor, we were just... Danny had the audacity to pause the game and stand up like he owned the place. You must be Trevor. Heard a lot about you, man. All good things, I'm sure. I walked past them to my office. Nina followed me. It's not what it looks like. He's just helping me figure things out. In his underwear? Dude was literally in boxers and a tank top. He stayed over because I was upset. Nothing happened. Nina. I don't care what happened. Not my business anymore. I grabbed my monitors and started disconnecting cables. You're taking the computer too? It's my computer? I use it for work sometimes. Then I guess you'll need to get your own. Danny appeared in the doorway. Hey man, don't you think you're being a bit harsh? Girl made a mistake. I looked at him. Really looked at him. Mid-20s, man bun, probably drove here in a car his parents bought. Danny, right? Quick question. You planning to help with rent? He laughed. I don't even live here, bro. Could have fooled me. I packed up the last of my stuff. Nina, 25 days left. Figure it out. As I was leaving, Nina played her last card. My dad's a lawyer. He says what you're doing is illegal eviction. Cool. Have him call my lawyer. I didn't have a lawyer yet, but I'd get one if needed. You're really going to lawyers over this? You literally just threatened me with one? The cognitive dissonance was spectacular. That evening, the flying monkeys arrived. Her mom called me. Her sister texted. Her friends bombarded my social media, all with the same message. How could you do this to Nina? But the best part? My buddy Jake works at a popular restaurant downtown. Guess who he saw there having a very romantic dinner 3 weeks ago? Nina and Danny, holding hands, kissing, the whole show. 3 weeks ago. He'd assumed we'd broken up and didn't want to bring it up. When I told him what happened, he sent me the security footage screenshot he'd saved because he thought it was weird I wasn't there. So much for nothing happened and one mistake. Day 5 today, I get a formal-looking email. Nina's dad, Richard, really is a lawyer. A tax lawyer, but still. He sent this long-winded message about tenant rights and established residency and threatened legal action if I didn't cease the harassment. Harassment. I left my own apartment and told her she had 30 days. That's harassment now. Time to get my own lawyer. This is about to get stupid. But you know what? I'm oddly calm. Every desperate move she makes just confirms I made the right choice. She had Danny on backup the whole time, but still wants to keep my apartment? The audacity is almost impressive. Nate thinks I should just go back and live there, make her uncomfortable until she leaves. But nah. I'm playing the long game. Let her and Danny play house in my apartment while the clock ticks down. Let's see how romantic it is when that rent bill comes due. Update coming soon. Something tells me this is about to escalate. Update 2. 2 weeks later, I was right about the escalation. What I didn't expect was the absolutely unhinged levels of entitlement and the dirty tricks Nina would pull. So I got a lawyer. Found Victoria through a coworker recommendation. She specializes in tenant law and took one look at my situation and actually laughed. She's not on the lease, never paid rent directly, and you gave her 30 days? This is the easiest case I'll have all month. She responded to Richard, Nina's tax lawyer dad, with a simple letter. Nina is a month-to-month guest, not a tenant. 30 days notice was generous. Any further contact should go through her office. That's when Nina went nuclear. First, I started getting calls from my landlord. Nina was calling in fake maintenance requests. The dishwasher was broken, it wasn't. The AC was making weird noises, it wasn't. The shower was leaking. You see the pattern. Dennis called me. Trevor, I've had 3 different maintenance guys out there. Nothing's wrong. She's also demanding I give her a key to the maintenance closet because she doesn't feel safe with workers coming in. But here's where she messed up. The 3rd maintenance guy took photos of her apartment showing Danny's stuff everywhere. Clothes, shoes, gaming setup in the living room. Dude had fully moved in. Victoria loved that. She's claiming she needs protection from you while moving another man into your apartment? Beautiful. I was having lunch with my team at work when Nina walked in. Not coincidental. She'd never been to this place before. She made a beeline for our table with tears already forming. Trevor, please, we need to talk. You're destroying my life. My coworkers looked super uncomfortable. I stayed calm. Nina, please contact my lawyer if you need something. Your lawyer? You got a lawyer to evict me from my home? From my apartment? Yes. She turned to my coworkers. Can you believe this? 4 years together and he kicks me out over a friend. My manager Sandra, who's like 60 and takes no crap, looked at her and said, honey, maybe this isn't the place for this conversation. Nina glared at her, then at me. Fine, but this isn't over. She stormed out. My coworkers were silent for a beat. Then Sandra goes, so, she seems stable. A week ago, I noticed weird charges on my credit card. Nothing huge, but random subscriptions, food delivery, online shopping. Turns out, Nina had saved my card info on various apps and was still using it. I disputed everything and canceled the card. But then discovered she'd also been using my Amazon Prime, Netflix, Spotify, basically every account she had access to. Changed all the passwords. Got a text from Chloe an hour later. Really? You're that petty you canceled her Netflix during a crisis? A crisis of her own making. While living with her side piece in my apartment. Then came the property destruction. Dennis called me yesterday. Trevor, I need you to come by. There's been some damage. I met him at the apartment. Nina wasn't there, probably at work. What I found was holes in the walls where Danny had mounted a TV bracket, burn marks on the kitchen counter from what looked like a hot pot. The bathroom door was off its hinges, red wine stains on the carpet. Dennis was pissed. This is coming out of your deposit unless you handle this. Document everything. Bill me for repairs. This is evidence. But the best part? Danny's gaming setup was still there, including a very nice curved monitor. I took photos of everything, especially the serial numbers. Last night, I get a call from Victoria. Nina had hired her own lawyer, a real one this time, not her tax daddy. They were claiming I had abandoned the property and she had established tenancy rights. They wanted 3 months of rent-free living to transition and $5,000 for emotional distress. Victoria laughed. They're desperate. This is good. How is this good? Because now we countersue. Destruction of property, unauthorized subletting, credit card fraud. The maintenance logs show she moved Danny in, which violates your lease. Your landlord can evict her immediately now. Wait, what? Your lease has a clause about unauthorized occupants. By moving Danny in, she violated it. You're technically in breach, but if we move fast, we can have her out before it becomes your problem. This morning, Dennis served Nina with a 3-day notice to quit for lease violations. Not from me, from the actual property management company. The meltdown was apparently epic. Danny was there and tried to argue that he was just visiting. For 2 weeks. With his entire gaming setup. Nina called me from Danny's phone, sobbing. How could you do this? I have nowhere to go. You have Danny. He lives with his parents. And there it was. The dude she destroyed our relationship for lives with mommy and daddy. That sounds like a you problem, Nina. You're evil. You're actually evil. I made one mistake. No, you made dozens. You just got caught once. She hung up. 20 minutes later, her mom called. Then her sister. Then Chloe. Then numbers I didn't recognize. All blocked. But my favorite message came from Danny himself, texting from his own phone. Bro, this is messed up. Nina's crying and saying she's gonna be homeless. Can't you just be cool about this? I can't bring her to my parents' place. They don't know about her yet. They don't know about her. This dude imploded my relationship, and his parents don't even know Nina exists. I screenshot that immediately and sent it to Victoria. As of now, Nina has 2 days to get out before formal eviction proceedings start. She owes me about $800 in fraudulent charges. The apartment damage is documented at around $2,000. Her emotional distress lawyer is about to get hit with a countersuit. The entitlement of thinking she could move her secret boyfriend into my apartment, destroy my property, steal from me, and then demand I pay her to leave? It's almost artistic in its audacity. Final update, coming once she's officially out. Based on the panic level, I don't think she's gonna make it the full 3 days. Final update, 1 week later, it's done. And the ending was even more pathetic than I expected. After getting the official notice from Dennis, Nina went into overdrive trying to save herself. But not in the way you'd think, like finding a new place or packing. Nope. She tried to find technicalities. First, she called the city housing department claiming she was being illegally evicted. They sent an inspector who took one look at the situation. Her name not on the lease, Danny's stuff everywhere, the documented damage, and basically told her she had no case. Then she tried to claim she'd been paying rent. Remember, she'd been covering groceries and some utilities while I paid the actual rent. She actually submitted grocery receipts to her lawyer as proof of rent payments. Victoria laughed so hard she nearly cried. She's claiming Whole Foods receipts are rent? But the cherry on top? Danny bailed. Day 2 of the 3-day notice, Jake saw him loading his gaming setup into his mom's SUV. By that evening, all his stuff was gone. Nina posted some cryptic Instagram story about knowing who's real when times get tough. Day 3 came. Nina hadn't packed anything. She was sitting on the couch when Dennis arrived with the maintenance crew. Ma'am, you need to leave now. I'm not going anywhere without my stuff. Then you need to pack it. I need more time. Dennis, bless him, had dealt with this before. You can take what you can carry now. Anything left will be stored for 30 days per state law. Here's the storage facility address. The wailing that came out of this woman. You'd think someone died. She called everyone, her parents, her sister Chloe. Her dad showed up within an hour with a U-Haul, looking like he'd aged 10 years. Richard tried one more time. This is cruel, Trevor. You know that, right? I was there with Victoria to document everything. Your daughter cheated, lied, moved another man into my apartment, damaged my property, and committed credit card fraud. What's cruel is expecting me to subsidize her lifestyle after that. He had nothing to say to that. The move-out was pure chaos. Nina grabbed random stuff, some of it hers, some of it mine. I had to keep pointing out items. That's my blender. Those are my books. That's definitely my coffee maker. Each time she'd scream about how I was nickel and diming, Chloe showed up and made things worse, loudly proclaiming that I was abusive for wanting my own belongings back. But the best moment? When Nina found the photos I'd taken of Danny's gaming setup. Why do you have pictures of Danny's stuff? Documentation. For the lawsuit. What lawsuit? Victoria stepped forward. The one we're filing for property damage, fraud, and breach of quiet enjoyment. Here's your copy of the filing. Nina literally threw the papers on the ground. I'm not paying you anything. That'll be up to the judge. They finally left after 4 hours. The apartment was trashed. Beyond the existing damage, Nina had poured coffee on the bedroom carpet, scratched the hardwood in the hallway, looked like she dragged furniture, left rotting food in the fridge, somehow cracked the bathroom mirror. Total damage $3,400, plus the fraud charges, plus legal fees. But wait, it gets better. That night, Danny posted on Instagram a selfie with some new girl at a bar. Caption, fresh starts with better energy. That night, Nina saw it. The meltdown on social media was spectacular. She went full scorched earth, posting screenshots of their texts, calling him out for using her for a place to stay, claiming he manipulated her. Danny fired back with his own screenshots. Turns out Nina had been pursuing him, sliding into DMs, suggesting they hang out, complaining about me being boring and controlling. My personal favorite text from Nina to Danny: "Trevor's so predictable, he'll never leave. I can keep him around until we figure out us." I was a safety net, a backup plan, pay the bills while she test drove the new guy. We went to small claims court last week. Nina showed up with her tax lawyer daddy. I had Victoria and a folder of evidence that could have doubled as a phone book. The judge listened to both sides. Nina claimed, "I abandoned her. Dismissed. It's my apartment." She had tenant rights. Dismissed. No lease, no direct rent payments. Emotional distress. Dismissed. No grounds. The damages were normal wear and tear. Very much not dismissed. The judgment: Nina owes $3,400 in damages. Nina owes $800 in credit card fraud. Nina owes $1,200 in legal fees. Total, $5,400. She screamed, actually screamed in court. The judge threatened to hold her in contempt. Richard looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. According to the social media grapevine, Nina moved back with her parents, still posting about surviving narcissistic abuse and rising above toxic situations. Danny already has another girlfriend. They're apartment hunting. Good luck to that poor girl. Chloe still comments supportive stuff on Nina's posts but stopped reaching out to mutual friends about the situation. Richard and Nina's mom are apparently making her get therapy. About time. As for me, I moved back into my apartment. Had to do some deep cleaning and repairs, but it feels like home again. I blocked Nina on everything, but occasionally friends show me her posts for entertainment. Last week, she posted a quote about learning to love yourself before loving others, and I nearly spit out my coffee. The lack of self-awareness is genuinely impressive. I spent 4 years with someone who looked me in the eye and told me she didn't owe me honesty. When I took her at her word and left, she tried to steal my apartment, moved in her side piece immediately, committed fraud, destroyed property, played victim to anyone who'd listen, expected me to pay for her transition, all because she couldn't just be honest and break up with me like an adult. The entitlement was staggering. She really thought she could have her cake and eat it too. My apartment and financial support. When reality hit, she tried every manipulation tactic in the book. But you know what? I'm grateful. Grateful I found out who she really was. Grateful I trusted my gut and left that night. Grateful I stood my ground despite the guilt trips and flying monkeys. My apartment's mine again. My credit card's secure. And I've got a great story about the time my ex tried to steal my life and ended up losing everything instead. Oh, and Nina? If you're reading this, you were right. You don't have to tell me everything you do, and I don't have to tolerate any of it. Enjoy your childhood bedroom. I hear Danny's already forgotten your name.